what?
I'm still chairing the historical commission.
Oh, good. Perfect.
Are we ready now? Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to the Historic Landmark Commission. I'm Linda K. Macon. I'm stepping in today because Dawn couldn't make it. May we have the roll call, please?
Vice Chairman Labiche is absent. Commissioner Avery absent. Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner Berube absent. Commissioner Crawford.
Present.
Commissioner Goodness.
Present.
Commissioner Javid.
Present.
Commissioner Macon.
Here.
Commissioner Provo is absent. Commissioner Segee.
Here.
And Commissioner Templeton.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Has everyone had an opportunity to read over the minutes of the last meeting? And if so, is there discussion or approval of the minutes?
I make a motion we approve the meeting from last month.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the minutes carry. Everyone, please silence your cell phone too. Okay.
There was a correction on the last month's minutes.
There was a correction?
I had sent out.
Okay,
on
with the
Dec-
correction. Okay.
With the December's, I'm sorry, we approved December's, but then I realized I had left off a commissioner. So I was
Okay.
trying to see if we could get that corrected today
Got it.
for December's.
Okay, thank you. So that's with the,
Do we need to make a motion
Yeah.
for that? I'll make the motion.
correct the motion? Okay.
I make the motion that we approve December meeting with the added amendment to that.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we're going to get started and go with file number PZ 2021-457.
Okay. On December 29th, 2021, Rodney Cooley made an application for a certificate of appropriateness requesting permission to paint the brick facade to the home of 2475 Liberty Street. An inspection was made last week. At some point during the time of application and inspection, the home has been painted without the benefit of an approved CA. The applicant submitted the paint to be Bear Swiss Coffee color, which is a shade of white. Mr. Cooley expressed that the brick repair was done prior to them owning the house. However, the brick did begin to deteriorate. He let the vines grow over the home for years in order to cover the poor repair. Last year, they pulled down vines from the house and realized it rotted the windowsills and soffits. The applicant wishes to have permission granted from the HLC to keep the painted brick. Ordinance states brick surfaces not previously painted may not be painted unless the applicant establishes that the color or and texture of replacement of brick cannot be matched with that of the existing brick surface, or that the painting is necessary to restore or preserve the brick. Staff recommends denial. The applicant is here. And this is a pic of the inspection that was made last week. So you can see that the paint or the brick was painted white. They already had permission for the trim work.
So if you're denying it, you're saying that you have to remove the paint and have to go back to the red brick color?
Yes.
Do we have a picture of it before it was painted?
We do not.
Okay, I'm confused. So the color of the house originally was red brick,
Right,
and he, without permission, painted it this color.
right.
Okay,
He made an application.
right,
Sometime between making application and inspection, the house was painted.
okay.
What's the date of the application? Is that on?
December 29th.
Okay, are there any questions of staff on this? Okay, and the applicant, yes, sir, if you'll come forward and state your name and address, please.
Rodney Cooley, 2475 Liberty. And like I said, it had some brick repair done. So once we put the vines down after the freeze from last year, you could see it. So I had already hired a paint contractor to come in that week to paint. Well, when they got there, I said, well, let me call, I think, Porch, and tell her I was going to paint the house. Well, she said that I couldn't paint it. I had to come before you guys. Well, by that time, I had already paid the contractors to do it, and I wouldn't be able to get them back for a year. So I had to go ahead and get it done and suffer the consequences later.
How long have you owned the house?
13 years.
13 years. And before that, it was always a red brick color
Yes, it's red brick color, but it had, you really didn't see much brick because it was the vines over the house.
with the vines?
Yes.
So you had it for 13 years, red with some vines on it, but
Yeah.
decided that you needed to get it painted.
After the freeze, all the vines died. So once we pulled the vines down, then you could see the bad brickwork then.
And when you say bad brickwork, had the replacement work been done with the brick from
Not the
different
original
color?
brick. No, they had did some with some brown brick, even though it was red brick in spots. In the front, it was some, but so we went ahead and just painted the whole thing.
It was pretty much, the vines pretty much covered the whole front.
Right,
Just-
exactly, yeah, yeah.
You didn't even see the red brick at all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when did you actually have it painted?
I guess maybe been 2 weeks now, probably.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
Probably 2 weeks now it's been painted.
Okay.
It was painted 3 days after the initial permit was purchased.
3 days after the initial permit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, do y'all have any questions of the applicant?
I don't understand.
Okay. What?
I don't understand what you're asking now.
No,
I
they
don't-
sent me the letter to come. I mean,
Oh.
I mean, I wasn't trying to. I was just coming to the meeting because I was told to come. But I mean,
So he didn't
I was-
have permission to paint?
right?
It's already been painted.
Yeah, but it wasn't painted until he took the vines off.
Then painted it.
Right,
And then
I
he painted
understand.
it.
Right,
So,
And obtained a permit.
right.
so what's he asking us to do? To
Allow the
fi-
house to continue to be painted that color.
I'm just here.
Okay. Can you give us some input here on
Yeah.
what the rules say?
Yeah, so I included the part of the ordinance because it says, brick surfaces can't be painted unless the applicant establishes that the color and texture of replacement of brick cannot be matched, which that of the existing brick surface or painting is necessary to restore or preserve the brick, which is why I asked you to come to this
Right.
meeting.
But my
If-
thing was, even when it was said, I mean, and because you told me I would be fined $500, and I found it crazy that I'm trying to improve my home, spend money to do it. 4 blocks away, I got a homeless camp, but I'm gonna get fined $500.
Okay, a question one more time. Make
Yes.
sure I understand this. You said that when you took the vines down, there were some mismatched bricks?
Yes, I mean.
Do you have any pictures of that?
No, because even when I came here 2012, when I purchased the house, they had the brickwork was messed up. They told me just put vines or something on. Well, putting the vines on it rots the wood out. So either way it go, I'm spending money and also giving you money for a fine. Which one do I do? And then when I get ready to sell my house, there's actually, if you look around, Miss Bell, there's more value in the white brick now than it is the red brick.
That's true.
So what are we doing here?
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. Let us discuss this.
Okay.
Okay, let's discuss.
I don't think he should be fined. I'm sorry.
Neither
Well-
do I.
I do wish though that, if he had been made clear that the mismatched brick would have been justification, I wish he would have taken pictures to document that. That would have, been the proper thing to do, I think.
Do we have
Which-
any pictures of the property after the vines were taken down?
We may be able to do Google Earth. I don't have internet connected to this laptop, so we might have to use phones to do so. But with the application having, going before you, I would have been able to have taken a picture of the brick, but that didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
Can anyone disagree that the house looks nice?
No.
Oh, it looks nice.
It's
Well,
very nice.
And if it was setting a precedent, if it was the only house that was a red brick and it was the first one to be painted, I would definitely have an issue. But there are many houses that are painted. I mean, I can name a lot of them and they all look nice.
But some of them were previously painted. so
Previously,
that-
before the ordinance, I
Yeah.
understand. So I don't feel like this isn't, like, if we were to allow him to keep it painted, because all of the architectural details that he's done with the trim work, this house has been awarded Yard of the Month, I know, before for sure, many times, twice.
It was on the red tag, we torn down.
Right.
Which one was it? Tear it down or redo something to it?
Well, my late husband, who was an architect, as everybody knows, he always told me that it was those vines. While some people like those vines, it's a very negative thing to do, to put them on your house, because they get into the mortar between the brick and it makes it deteriorate. So,
Yeah, it does.
and after you take those vines down, I've seen people's homes that have the vines taken down and they're a mess. They're just a mess. So I,
Well, not just on the brick, on the wood home. We had
Oh,
some on our
yeah.
wooden home
exactly.
in Old Town.
They do a lot of damage, those vines and their
Yeah,
little
they
roots.
do.
I have a question. So he applied for the CA in December. Well, why, was it too late to get on January's meeting, or?
It was, I think, if I can remember back then, it was either the 23rd or the 26th.
Was the cutoff?
Was the
Okay.
cutoff, and then news notices had already happened.
Okay.
Now, am I mistaken? Did he get a permit from the city to do this?
He
Oh.
applied for the application.
And never was approved?
Right.
Okay, and just decided his window of opportunity, he needed to get this project finished, or,
We had a contractor.
all right.
Yeah,
I'm just
lined up.
wondering why he, before his coming to the meeting and getting approved, why this was done.
Because I had already had contractors and they were, I couldn't get them back, they refused, so
Okay.
the lost money that I already paid,
So, but
still
you,
not having a job.
but you understand that the way it should have happened is you should have gotten the permit before you got
I
the
understand
contractor.
that, and do whatever you're gonna do. I'm not gonna argue with you guys about painting my house.
One of the only things I can see that may be I don't know what it is, a situation. On the section, 2803.018 says, brick surfaces not previously painted may not be painted unless the applicant establishes that the color and texture of replacement brick cannot be matched with that of existing brick. And we don't really have, he hasn't provided us with proof of that, but I get it when you take down greenery like that it tears up the surface, and so many of these houses are not the same bricks that are matched. So, anyone else have any discussion? Is there a motion?
I agree with you as well as the vines. I think, as I said, it best is that it deteriorates a home, and it would be hard to match the brick from when this home was built. And I think painting it was probably the best option. So I'm willing to make a motion that we allow this house to be, we allow this home to be painted or remain painted as is.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The motion carries. We are going to approve this to you, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, moving on to file number PZ 2022-1. Can we get the staff report, please, ma'am?
Okay. Teresa Sabihi would like to add siding to the second story of her apartment complex located at 2570 Pecos Street. The structure currently has a brick facade on the first story and paneling along the second story. The siding, Ms. Sabihi would like to use horizontal hardy plank profile that has a 6.25-inch reveal. The brick will remain intact along the first story of the structure. So she intends just to put this siding onto the top floor to cover the paneling. Ms. Sabihi intends to paint the siding with colors from our pre-approved selection. Staff recommends approval of the request. So as you can see, below, if my mouse will get over there, below is the brick. I know that the cars are kind of covering it up, but you can see that. And then up here, she wants to put the horizontal siding, and it'll be hardy plank.
I see there's one shutter on that left window. Will she, have shutters next to the windows?
She did not have anything for shutters.
Well, I hope she takes that one off.
She got her to put the siding on.
Was it one off, or is it just where
Looks
one
like
was,
it.
Yeah.
it wasn't painted?
That's what it
I
looks
think
like.
I
Or
think
maybe just
there used to
wood.
be-
It looks kind of like wood.
I think
Yeah.
there used to be a
One.
shutter there, but, and when the house got painted, it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, maybe so. Well, anyway, that doesn't look so good.
Okay, is there any other questions of staff? Is the applicant in the audience? No, applicant's not in the audience? Okay, do we have a discussion or a motion?
I make a motion that we approve PZ 2022-1 to add siding to this structure.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, moving on to file PZ 2022-30. We have a staff report, please, ma'am.
Joyce Newell is seeking permission to remove and install porch posts to a house located at 2445 Louisiana Street. This request was previously submitted to the HLC in December. It was stated on pages 2 through 3 of the minutes of the HLC that staff could approve the rest of the request, could approve the rest of the request and let staff approve appropriate posts. Sometime later, she approached staff about a design concept for posts that was rejected because it was square in profile and did not seem appropriate. Ms. Newell requests that the HLC reconsiders the design that was presented to staff. Ms. Newell stated the front porch posts are rotting at the bottom and that they are not original to the house. Further, she explains the current porch posts do not fit the overall style of their home for the time it was built and the surrounding houses within the neighborhood. She intends to restore the posts to as close as possible to its original design. This home is categorized as a modern ranch-style house. Examples of these houses are in a field guide to American houses, page 478 to 480. The existing square-top porch posts with decorative design elements seems appropriate for a ranch-style home during the 1970s era. Changing the posts to an all-square profile does not seem appropriate for the homes of this era. It appears that many homes had round and decorative posts. Therefore, staff recommends denial. And we do have the applicants in the audience.
Okay.
This is a picture of the house, and then I took another picture to zoom in on the posts, and you can see down here that there is a bit of rotting.
Okay, are there any other questions of staff? Okay, Ms. Newell, you're in the audience. Would you like to come forward and state your name and address, please?
Hello, thank you so much for having us today. My name is Joyce Moore Newell. I live at 2445 Louisiana. This is my husband, Eric Newell. And we would like to have just straight post. And I think he kind of presented that, but maybe I didn't communicate clearly to him, and I'm not sure if he communicated clearly to you guys also. And so we went around to the neighborhood and looked at other houses that are similar in design and style to the time that our house was made. We do believe that our house was built earlier than the 70s due to some of the plumbing work. We've had people come in to do plumbing, and we can't even play the plumbing to what's there now because it's so old. So as you can see in some of the other exhibits that I presented, other houses in
Can
the
I
neighborhood.
interrupt? You can go ahead and take your mask off if you don't mind so we can hear you better.
Okay,
Thank
I'm
you.
so sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
So other houses in the neighborhood, we found at least 6 other houses in our neighborhood within the 3-street radius that have some of this similar profile of low slung roof line to ranch style, and all of them had straight posts. unless they had ironwork, and the ironwork post they would have is very specific to the time period that was put in, with very modern or mid-century modern details of like or rectangular squares and things that we can't necessarily purchase now because it was very specific to the time that was put in. So we're just wanting to put back a very straight line to be more, look to be appropriate with the type of house that it is, with the modern straight lines, and with the other houses in the neighborhood.
Okay, when did y'all buy the house? And can we get your name again, sir? I apologize, I missed your first name.
My name is Eric Newell.
Yes, sir.
I bought the house in 2007.
Okay, and it looked like this when you bought it? The post?
Yes.
Okay,
And I went back, the house had a tree through those two windows
In the front
on the left side of the porch
for Hurricane Rita.
during, Rita. And I went back, and I guess those posts were there then. Cause I got the homeowners from them to send me pictures to see if maybe they were replaced at that point. I just wanted to add to what she said. My house got into pretty bad shape, partly because of me, partly because of Hurricane Irma. Imelda.
Thunderstorm Imelda is when
one
it
of them,
flooded.
right.
It flooded. During that process, we uncovered that someone had gone in and done some stuff they probably shouldn't have done to the foundation, which resulted in about $21,000 in foundation repairs. That part of that, we discovered a leak in the back, under the back porch of a sewage pipe. There was another $6,000 in repairs. The repairs to the outside of the home and the repairs to the
It took out like a third of our house.
inside of the house. We're at about $55,000 out of pocket, including engineers as we sit here today. I owe another $10,000 to
Contractor.
our contractor to finish up that bit. After that, I still have to come up with money to repair a fence so that I can let my dog run around my backyard. I have to repair the concrete in the back porch, which I don't know how much that's gonna
Or a
be.
drain.
Some general landscaping and some better drainage. So,
But
I'm
back
looking
to
at-
the porch.
I understand. Okay. My point is that I was at a point where my options were essentially, we buy ugly homes and then use my insurance proceeds to make up the difference and just walk away.
And then the Glow people asked us to
And
just sell our house, but we
my
decided
other
not to.
option was to do this, and more I'm regretting putting this kind of investment. I'm basically spending $70,000 to get my home back up to being worth what I paid for it. And, I've done a lot of research. This is not the scenario where the code clearly says X, Y, or Z. This is a judgment call that's just historical architecture, which I'm not an expert in. I don't know if any of you are, but I've gone through, I've read, looked at theses, I've looked at books. There's other resources out there besides the one that's typically quoted. Ranch style homes come in many makes, shapes, sizes. Most of the homes, there aren't very many generally. Most historical districts that do have ranch style homes, typically the whole neighborhood is ranch style homes. And the historical district is able to give very specific guidelines on these types of things. Now, none of them have a guideline on what a porch should look like, other than it, one of the things I read that really stuck with me was that it shouldn't stand out from the house. And I think that what these do is they do stand out. Especially with what we've done with the rest of the house. One of the other things that came up is I was gonna paint my door, and we were told Friday we had to buy a new door. So I've got a new door, I'd like to show you.
Sir, let's stay with the subject matter.
Okay. I'll
Okay,
just show
so
you what the
we've
porch-
got, I understand, but our job is to try to streamline this and stay focused on what this is all about.
Okay.
What this is about the posts.
Yes,
So-
there's no clear guidelines as to what these posts should be.
Okay, all right. Are there any questions of the Newell family that anyone has? Okay, we've got some discussion that we need to go through too, so, thank you for your time, and let us visit with this a little bit, and if we have any questions, we'll get you back up here.
I've got one
Okay.
question. before
Yes, sir.
we- What size posts are you looking at putting in?
Same to the similar size, but without the decoration. just-
Right, are you
Like 4
looking at a
inches.
4x4 or 6x6?
I believe those are 6x6.
Okay.
I don't know. But whatever the same
No,
size that is, but
6
just
by 6.
straight.
And the alternative suggestion to that would be straight with just some sort of decorative cap at the top and the bottom.
And I gave some example pictures of that in the presentation. And then, like he was saying with our door, we had to buy a new door, and so instead of having like the curly cues in the window, our new door is very linear in the window pane. So very linear lines of that painting.
Would you, can I show you a picture?
No.
We're not,
We-
we
we've
can't
got it.
build
We've got
it.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
that door was
That,
2 days ago, and the new door's on right
No,
now.
I'm saying we have other comps.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, so thank you.
thank you.
Okay, let's, discuss. So according to the modern ranch style house, can you give us some more information about that?
Yeah, so basically, you know, and I think I made some photocopies.
You did?
Those examples are kind of what I try to pull from when we ask to change different styles or, you know, elements. I found a lot of the wrought iron, like she was saying, those elemental pieces. It was tough for me to find just straight posts. I saw, you know, especially on 478, I saw that it was like the square posts with the element or the decorative elements like this one. And the reason that, you know, when she approached earlier was with the all square posts. You guys had previously recommended that it was comparable to posts with decorative elements.
Right.
And so when she approaches with that, I couldn't give my blessing because it has to come back to you guys.
Originally, wasn't the post, they were wanting to use a natural, unpainted post, more of a natural?
That
I
was
think
in-
that might have been
That
a
was a
different
different-
case.
Okay.
That was like November meeting or something, this came up, right?
This one, I believe, was the December meeting.
December,
Mhm.
okay.
We've got minutes for that. Also, do we know when this, I mean, are we sure when this house was built? Do we know when it was first put on the tax roll?
Jefferson County says 1978.
1978? Okay, is there a motion on the floor or any other discussion?
Well, in the examples given, I see both kinds of posts.
I do.
On page 479, the second figure definitely looks square to me. I know it's kind of hard to look at these small pictures, but they do look to me like there's both decorative, and when you look at the description, it says decorative iron or wooden porch supports and decorative shutters are the most common, but it doesn't say that they never used, you know, decorated posts, and I see that in the examples, so I'm inclined to say that both are acceptable for a ranch style home. I wish Don was here so he could tell us a little more, but that's
Yeah.
the way I see it.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve PZ 2022-30 to approve these porch posts.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The motion carries and it's approved. Thank you. Okay. Do we have, let's see, anything else going on here? We have the other business.
Yes. Did you guys want the code report first or the other business first?
Whatever's easier for you.
We can do the other business.
Okay.
So wanna say it was the November meeting. We got, Mr. Highsmith, it was at 794 3rd Street. He wanted that masonry, fence or wall, you could probably say. So that, he wound up appealing that, and that went to council. And so council heard the appeal, and they really wanted, they kind of flipped it back to us. So today is more of just a discussion versus a, making any kind of judgment on it. But they kind of want to know what would be approved, or what, I know that in the minutes, we have it where some was discussed about putting brick columns, and then finishing it out. So they kind of want to know what would be acceptable. And so I went through street by street, and just tried to pick out some of the, if I found any stucco fences within the historic district and whatnot. And I can show you a few of what I found. This is on Pecos. It was probably the truest, if not the only, stucco wall within the district. Now it does kind of look like it comes off the house a little bit, connects, and then it's finished out with the wood. So this is a example. I found a lot of brick wall or fences. We'll say walls. Sorry, it's really tripping me up with the fences versus walls. We'll say walls. And it looks like it was painted, and it has the decorative element with the brick columns. And this is on Long. This one extends from the house and comes through with a decorative element here with the brick. And this is on Harrison. And then this is Louisiana. I know this isn't what he wants at all, but just, I saw this was a common trend. Either this lattice, or if they just wanted regular wood fence through it, brick. But I really didn't find too much masonry. But they kind of just wanted to see y'all's opinion on what, if it could work out, or if it's just no.
How high was his going to be?
6 feet.
6 foot.
Okay.
So all of the examples that you've shown here, to me, the big difference between these examples and what he is requesting is that the style of the fence actually complements or is an extension of the home, whereas his is, they're like total opposites.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
if I recall, the house, we had a little bit more of a early American or Victorian flair, and there's nothing stucco about that. So I mean that's the problem that I have with it. I mean, a combination of a brick column with a wood, or if he was gonna paint the stucco something that wouldn't say stucco.
Right.
I mean, to me, it doesn't fit the style of the house. It's not historically compatible with that house, that piece of property.
Do we have a picture of his house on here? No?
I don't, but I can definitely pull it up on my phone real quick.
Yeah, he lives on the corner of 7th and, no, Hazel and 3rd?
I don't remember now
On
what the
the
house looked like.
North, southeast corner.
So there's a bit of tree cover, but
Do you remember the house?
you can kind of see it's got the siding. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, he's got I think it's 713 siding, the teardrop double.
Yeah, so it's got the pitched roof right there with the siding.
Where's this house?
I'm just thinking.
It's Hazel and 3rd.
Huh.
And he does intend to paint the house
Is it-
white.
It's wooden, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
shouldn't kind of,
It doesn't blend at all. It goes with these houses,
Yeah.
but not with that house.
Yeah, and that's, like you said, that's kind of was common throughout the district, was like what the house looked like. It was almost like an extension
Of the house.
to the house. And a lot of them were just brick. That Pecos one was the closest to stucco. If it is stucco, that was the closest looking to that.
And I mean, I recall us just, trying to discuss the iron option, which he didn't want because he wants total privacy. And I know that a stucco fence is way nicer than just a wood panel, but I don't know, even a brick and wood combination to me would be more comparable to the house than, a stucco.
And can you read for us what the ordinance says about the stucco or about fencing? Because I think that was part of the issue, was we were trying to stay with what the ordinance said.
Yeah.
And I don't recall the exact wording.
Yeah, it was materials for fence, and then it had its own like standalone sentence, and it was like concrete blocks are not permitted. And that was one of the main issues, and the only reason that it got brought here is because he's like, well, I'll stucco over it, so that's a little bit of a gray area. So he wants to concrete block and then stucco, and then also paint it white.
so they want our opinion?
Yeah, yeah, if there's any wiggle room, if there's not, and like, suggestions that, like how you said, brick with wood fence would be, an allowable type, then we would basically bring that to them and then bring it back to you guys.
Okay, who wants to make a suggestion on that one?
Well, I would say that the stucco fence is not appropriate to the style of the house,
It doesn't look appropriate.
and we would recommend, if he does want to proceed, to have, if he wants to do brick columns with a fence inlay, would be more appropriate.
Right.
You talking about a wood fence inlay?
That works.
And if, we can close the other business if you guys want to, or if anyone else has.
Does anyone else have any other thoughts on that?
No, I mean, great.
Not
Yeah.
on that, but I did
Brick
have
columns, wouldn't it?
I did have a question from our last meeting. We had those two houses that were scheduled for
Yes.
demolition that we tabled. Are those gonna be put on next month's?
They should be going in
Meeting?
March,
Okay.
yes. Our demo assistant, she was out all last week, so I didn't want to put something just in case it didn't work out
Okay,
for today.
Okay.
But yes, March, they should be coming back to you guys.
okay.
So is everybody in agreement on that suggestion?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
And then I think it's just.
on to other business.
This is for code report.
Oh, yes, code report.
Shay, can you turn on the microphone?
Co-report for January, 7 affidavits completed, 2 cases closed, new charges filed were 7, 15 court appearances, 8 court inspections, 8 court re-inspections, 2 certificate of appropriateness, no new general nuisance violations, new historic violations 19, historic re-inspections 9, HOC review inspections 3, 2 posted stop work orders, 1 new JMV violation, 5 JMV re-inspections, 7 new litter violations, 9 new litter re-inspections, 12 new weed violations, 19 weed re-inspections, 3 city compliance weed, owner compliance, 2 weed, 1 new zoning violation, and 2 zoning re-inspections.
You've been busy.
Absolutely.
In those 19 new violations, what were those? A majority of one or the other? Can
The
you tell
historic
us?
violation.
Yeah.
Yes.
What were they?
I had windows, new violations. The majority of them were litter. Litter on the other side of the historic district, what would be the south side of the historic district. There has been a lot of litter dumping, a lot of just illegal dumping. The majority of those, that's where that number comes from with those 12.
Why don't they put it in the front for the big garbage day pickup?
A lot of people do a lot of things.
A lot of stupid things, just stupid. There's a
Lazy.
dumpster by the little complex out there, and they throw it on the side of the dumpster. It's
And tires,
raised by bears.
I've been going crazy with the tires.
How long does it take to process somebody that you have given notice to clean up their junk?
When I send them out a letter, it's usually 7 to 10 business days. 7 to 10 days period, that they have to abate that issue.
So,
And then I go out for reinspection after that to make sure they're either in compliance or non-compliant.
so last time I talked with you, there's a house on 9th between Harrison and Hazel.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Yes,
Why?
what you're talking about.
And this is 3 months now, and it's getting worse.
So with that, as you all know, things will get worse before they get better. We just went to court last week. So
Good.
he has 30 days to get that judged order, 30 days to get it cleaned up. He's also been fined, and he did make payment on those fines.
Is that on 10th or 9th?
9th,
Yes.
between Harrison and Hazel.
10th?
Is it 10th?
10th.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's 10th. Yeah, we spoke last
Yeah.
week about it.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm getting it under control.
Good.
Thank
And
you.
sometimes too, the process, we typically like to send out a courtesy letter first. And that gives them so many days. If they haven't done anything during that reinspection time, then that's when a certified letter goes out. Once the certified letter goes out, we do our reinspection in so many days. And then that kind of, we try to stay away from court, but if there's no communication, there's no nothing, then it'll go to court. So sometimes it does take a bit of time. It just depends on how well the citizen wants to work with us. Sometimes it gets resolved real quick. Sometimes it does drag out to court, and then that's really up to the judge at that point.
Well, I get a lot of people asking, this has been going on too long. When's something gonna happen?
Right.
And it keeps moving further and further up till there's a street and it's.
And typically when it really starts to drag out is the time that it's in court, because if, let's say that they don't show up, it could get reset. When it resets, that's at least another month before it ever gets back on to the docket. So just kind of all depends. There's some factors.
Now, there's an ordinance for the Oaks Historic District about furniture on the porch and using the front porch as a storage room. I've noticed it's starting to creep back that you've got couches and people just storing all kinds of boxes and everything and furniture on the front porch. Do you look into that or?
Yes.
Okay,
If you have something specific, you give me your address and I can check it out.
all right. I will get you a list.
Okay, anything else, y'all? Okay, thank you.
Hey,
Meeting's
hold on,
adjourned.
hold on. If you notice, people are starting to, when they speak, they always talk about the homeless camp. So we
Yeah.
have to be aware that people are starting to use that as a
Absolutely.
crutch. That you can't, why are you messing with me? Because they're the homeless
Of course, yeah.
Now, since you bring that up,
Be
we
brief.
had an issue 3 or 4 years ago on, was it 5th or 4th in Harrison where there was an encampment? And we ended up using the ordinances for the Oaks Historic District to remove this encampment. How can we go about, because there's nothing in the Oaks Historic District that says anything about camping on property.
But it just made a ruling that there was really nothing we can do.
No, in the Oaks Historic District, there is ordinances
Well, they
that
just made
we
a
can,
ruling.
that we can move them. There is no,
Do
go
you
ahead.
mind if I shed some light? So, what's happening right now, with, you know, the, I think it's 2197 Laurel.
Mhm.
Right now, they have, permission from the owner. And the reason why that guy, 3 to 4 years ago, was removed is more than likely
He didn't
because
have-
the owner did not give permission.
Correct.
To camp on their land. Now, we don't have anything as far as, like, the state hasn't passed anything. We don't have anything for camping laws. Until we do, then there's nothing we can do. You know, we are monitoring, just like any other property. It's one and the same. Any new structures that come up, then we address accordingly. But that's one of the reasons is that, you know, they have permission from the landowner and the other one did not.
Carolyn, in the audience, did you have a question?
I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Carol Geary. I know a lot of you, but I've retired from the Port of Beaumont and I'm working part-time at Beaumont Main Street. And I'd just like to say I'm looking forward to the opportunity to work with all of you guys to help protect and preserve our historic, especially my heart, downtown Central Business District. So in the last 4 months since I joined Main Street, I've been doing a lot of research and I have a lot of questions. So I'm going to ask ahead of time for your patience with me and hopefully some guidance on some questions and some things that recently I've learned through the THC and going to conferences and doing online training. And I'm real excited about it. But my only one question, because I promised Tom I wouldn't come over here and bombard y'all with questions. But how accurate is when we go online to the city's website and we go to the GIS map and we pull up the violations? Like, I'm pulling it up and I'm looking at it and I'm only seeing 3 violations in downtown in the Central Business District and the Historic District, and they're dating back to 2020. Is that because they're
Which has
not
nothing to do with the
updating
landmark
the
commission.
website, or is that
Has nothing to do with
because
this commission.
why? I mean, I need to know where is the best source for me to
City
go
council.
look to see what's already been reported, what you're working on. Is that a report I should get from y'all, or can I depend on that website for those updates?
I'm not sure. You're talking about the portal map, right? I'm not sure which violations are posted on that, but I would not go by that. I will check into that. And if that is updated and I find out, then I'll be sure to contact you directly. But let me look into that. The best way to find violations on certain specific properties is definitely by doing an open records request with the city clerk. And I think you can submit those online now.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, I did just wanna point out on this, I did look back since we had December minutes, and what they had asked for before was a natural, block post with no capping. And so, to me, this is more, what we voted on is more appropriate, and I just wanna point it out that, so when y'all are working with them, that they are doing this, not.
The foot
Yeah.
and the cap.
In the painting, it's not, cause I remember before they were just wanting like the rough hewn, you know, post, but anyway.
Okay, all right, meeting's adjourned. Thank you all very much. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, rough. He's,